We love Mike DeCourcy on Coast to Coast, a legendary scribe with the sporting news. You catch him on Fox Sports doing college basketball, the Big Ten Network. He's on the take for the Indiana Hoosiers. And he's a real diehard Steeler fan. He won't admit that publicly. But I want to start with your article on the Tennessee quarterback who quit and, blew off practice, games, spring games, walked out, transferred to UCLA, I guess with his brother. And I really liked the end of your piece when you were talking about that he'd failed the business class with his decisions on, at some level, like he may not understand what he's dealing with at the next level, what this is going to do to him or what it's going to mean for him in the future. That he, like, I'm assuming, like, at some level when I read it, that you thought he made a bad decision. And then some people think Heupel's like a hero for saying, get out then.
Yeah, I don't buy the hero act now, because at the time he had a chance to take a stand and say, we're going with a Tennessee man, as Bo Schembechler once said when Bill Frieder left for Arizona State in the middle of the NCAA tournament, we're going to go with a Michigan man. Well, he decided to go with a UCLA man at quarterback. They're bringing in a transfer from the portal who had been at UCLA and now will have the shot to be the Vols quarterback. So no hero designation for Tennessee. I think they did the right thing, but I don't think that they stand above everybody else in college football for doing the right thing. But Nico, in his circumstance, did the absolute wrong thing on every level. At the time, it seemed like maybe he could at least get some short-term money out of it, Scott. But every report indicates that he's going to make less at UCLA than he was going to make at Tennessee. And add in the complication of what you have, the signal you have sent to the NFL. Look, if he turns out to be the next, I'm trying to think of somebody that was somebody that's an absolute no-brainer number one guy, and we haven't had one of those for a while. But if he turns out to be someone that absolutely is so gifted that you have to take him, it won't really impact him. But I don't think that I've seen anybody who analyzes these things suggest that he's that. He's a guy who's going to fight to get a job in the NFL. And what he has now done is put on his resume that he'll walk out, that for an extra dollar or two, presumably, he'll walk out. Well, that's not what they're looking for in a backup quarterback. They want you there every single day, every single minute of film. They want you always available. They want you committed. And he has suggested to the NFL now he's not that. And Scott, there's so much money in being an NFL quarterback, and not just the elite, not just the top 5 or 6. I guess Burrow is the guy I should have mentioned in my suggestion. Like, if he turns out to be Joe Burrow, that's one thing. But he's not. He's not that guy.
He's not even close to Joe Burrow.
Yeah. So he has hurt himself immeasurably, both in the short term, where he'll take a pay cut, but more importantly in the long term, where teams are going to he's going to have to earn their trust. Josh Dobbs, who came from the same university, Tennessee, a brilliant young man who has been an absolute asset to every organization he's been with, but never a great quarterback, a nice backup to have who'll do the right things and show up on time and be smart and make good suggestions and pay attention in meetings and use his intelligence to contribute to the franchise. That's what your model is. And Josh Dobbs is going to make, I think it's around $8 million over the next 2 years. He's been in the league for basically a decade. And when he's done playing football, he'll have made about $50 million, ballpark, maybe more. And how you could mess around with that, I have no idea.
Then you're just stupid. You wrote about the prices of guys that are backups now that are like third stringers, like Allen, that played with the Steelers, and now he's making like 1.2 or something like that. But that they're taken seriously as pros in, everything you mentioned, the meetings, practice, being on time, being there. This is no joke. I don't think the kid understands at this point in his life what he's dealing with in the future. Someone's not giving him good advice.
Yes, there's no question the advice was awful. it was horrendous because what he absolutely should have done was complete the process at Tennessee. And then if he decided that he wanted to transfer in the window that opened after the spring game and all of that, I don't think that people would have thought it was a wise move, but I don't think it would have been viewed in quite the same way as not showing up for the final practice and not showing up for the spring game is being viewed. I think that's a much different scenario. Again, it never made sense to leave Tennessee when the starting job was his. The team around him was very capable. They won 10 games a year ago. It never made sense to leave that. But if there was a way to leave that he did not follow, that would at least have been less objectionable.
So he's not a trendsetter. You don't believe that other, let's just say, kids are going to follow his lead and try to pull these shenanigans because it would behoove them not to do that.
No, I think he's now the example that every other coach will use when faced with that. Someone coming and saying they want more money, they'll say, "You want to be the next Nico?" I don't think you want to be the next Nico, but if you do, the door is right there. And I think the player will say, "Nah, I don't want to be the next Nico." I don't know how many guys will be dissuaded from making that extra ask for a little bit more money. I don't know exactly how many. I think there will still be some dissuaded from doing that. If you're going to negotiate, you do it appropriately when you don't have already an agreement in place, which Nico's reportedly was a multi-year agreement that he agreed to back when he was coming out of high school. So you need to have, in the current circumstance, you need to be up for renewal, so to speak, to pull off what Nico tried to do.
So the Sporting News wrote the other day, somebody in there was writing about the Steelers should go after Cousins. I want to know if you buy into that. And I also want to know, you said to me earlier off air that you don't think really more than one guy's a first rounder as far as quarterbacks go in this draft Thursday night.
No, everything I see, Scott, when I look at the tape on the other first rounders, aside from Cam Ward, the other first round projected quarterbacks, when I look at the tape, and then when I look at the scouting reports from people who are paid to do these things, everything I read is, okay, what's the problem with Shedeur Sanders? Not a great arm. What's the problem with Jackson Dart? Not a great arm. Hey, if you don't have a great arm, there's no way you should ever be a first round pick. I don't care how elite you are at processing information, as Shedeur apparently is, or how tough and competitive you are. The elite quarterbacks in the league, look at it, and except for maybe Lamar Jackson, who's got a terrific arm, but not next level. But Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, those guys all have extraordinary arm talent. And we're not seeing that from this group. It may be in next year's group. The Louisville quarterback may have that. He has some other areas he's not as strong. But if you're not possessing an elite arm, you're Kenny Pickett. I mean, you're just taking another lap around the Kenny Pickett track.
So, do you think the Steelers should pay $20 million for Cousins, or do you think they should keep trying to convince this guy Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't seem interested in at all? I got 5 seconds. Cousins or Rodgers?
If I had a choice, I'd go Cousins.